Hello friends and welcome to my new video. Today I'll be talking about a movie which I've just seen. I've just finished watching it right now, in fact. And I must confess that I watched the movie with a lot of apprehension and a lot of doubt because it's a biopic and I am not very comfortable watching biopics. I somehow it's never been a genre which is a preferred one for me. But because of the makers and the actors who were involved with this movie, I decided to take my chance and give it a viewing. And at the end of 2 hours and 42 minutes, I must confess that all my apprehensions and doubts about biopics have been safely dispelled. The movie I'm talking about today is Vicky Kaushal starrer Sardar Udham, which is based on the life of a rather unsung or lesser known, lesser spoken about revolutionary and freedom fighter India has had. Sardar Udham is directed by Shoojit Sircar, and in fact when I first heard of this movie I was very surprised because to me it appeared a movie quite out of Shoojit Sircar's range as a director, as a filmmaker. Maybe I was unfairly judging him, but I thought that really this wasn't a Shoojit Sircar kind of film to be made. But as I said, viewing the movie and seeing it has changed all that. Sardar Udham has been a wonderful watch, if not a heavy watch. It is definitely going to be heavy, as I knew, because the subject is such. It's about this young man who witnesses and feels the Jallianwala Bagh massacre and then bides his time, prepares, and eventually, over 20 years later, kills the man who was responsible for the tragedy at Jallianwala Bagh. Sardar Udham, as I said, is relatively lesser known amongst the freedom fighters that we speak of when we talk of the Indian freedom struggle. There have been a couple of movies made, a Hindi movie called Jallianwala Bagh, which had Vinod Khanna in the lead role and also had Gulzar Saab in a small role. Jallianwala Bagh, I think, got a very limited release across India, very delayed release, much later than when it was originally made. I think somewhere around 1987 or 1988, Jallianwala Bagh got released, which spoke of Sardar Udham Singh. And there was a Punjabi movie in the 90s, which I think had Raj Babbar in the role of Udham Singh, which won a lot of acclaim and was also a huge success. But apart from these two films, I don't think there's any other movie which celebrates this great Indian revolutionary. Sardar Udham begins slightly on the slower side. What might be a little off-putting at the beginning is the number of time jumps it takes. It keeps going on to flashback and years forward and again flashbacks, and it takes time for us to get really hooked onto the movie and involved in the movie. But once we do, it's gripping and it's bound to make you react. It's a beautifully made movie. And there are I think post interval is really the time that the movie picks up and you get involved and you realize that all your investment in the movie till then has not gone to waste, because very honestly for the first half an hour I really didn't know whether I was going to continue watching it or not, because the film drags, it sort of slacks in pace, and it's, as I said, it's very jumpy. It keeps jumping from the present time to 2 years later, then to a flashback to time forward again. So there's a whole lot of time jumps that are happening, which don't allow the film to flow at a decent pace. But second half onwards, the movie is just something else. The Jallianwala massacre has so much impact. There is it makes it difficult viewing. It makes it very, very uncomfortable and difficult and almost heart-wrenching to watch. And you sort of completely get into the skin of the character, and you now realize why, and why it's a must that Michael O'Dwyer must be assassinated, must be killed. That's where the director Shoojit Sircar succeeds, because he invokes so much of hatred towards those characters, and it's done brilliantly. It's done very, very brilliantly. Uh, the story is simple. The story is pretty simple. It's this young boy, Udham Singh, who witnesses the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and it has such a profound impact on him that he decides to grow up and kill Michael O'Dwyer. So he travels to England, where he shoots Michael O'Dwyer during one of his public speeches, and the entire journey, the development of the character, the growth of the character is brilliantly depicted by Shoojit Sircar. It's a very, very heavy watch, but it's also a watch that makes you feel grateful and satisfied that there were such people in India for whom today we can enjoy the fruits of freedom. It's a very patriotic film. It's a very swelling of the heart film, without being jingoistic, without being nationalistic. The dialogues by Ritesh Shah are brilliant dialogues. They touch you. They hit you in your heart, without being over the top and melodramatic and loud. And it's not like that at all, thankfully. Where I think things could have improved is the screenplay by Shubhendu Bhattacharya and Ritesh Shah. As I said, the first half an hour, 40 minutes of the movie really drag, and maybe that could have been done away with. But that apart, it's a brilliant film. It's one of the better movies of this year, and kudos to Shoojit Sircar for picking this subject. Apparently, he had researched on this subject for nearly 20 years, and I think it shows the details and the thoroughness and the in-depth analysis of the character of the man he's making the movie about absolutely comes across on the screen. It's wonderfully made by Shoojit Sircar. The cinematography is beautiful. It's brilliantly picturized by Avik Mukhopadhyay. I think some of the scenes, especially the Jallianwala Bagh scenes, will stay in your mind long after you watch the movie. And it is equally complemented by a brilliant background score by Shantanu Moitra. It's superb. It's, I think, that beautiful blend of images and sound which elevates the film to further heights. Brilliant job by both Avik Mukhopadhyay and Shantanu Moitra. And as far as performances go, they're brilliant. Whether it is Amol Parashar in a small but very important role of Bhagat Singh, Banita Sandhu has a tiny role as the girlfriend of Udham Singh. She is so expressive and so beautiful. Brilliant impact she has. There is Sean Scott, who plays the role of Michael O'Dwyer, and he is despicable enough for you to know that he's acted well, because we just really hate the character when we see him. But ultimately and finally, the movie belongs to Vicky Kaushal. Vicky Kaushal is one of the finest actors, one of the finest young actors in Indian cinema today, and To say that Sardar Udham is a jewel in his crown wouldn't be saying too much. He is the heart and soul of the movie, and he puts in a performance of a lifetime. He is absolutely brilliant. I remember first noticing Vicky Kaushal in Masan, and I thought he was brilliant. People say he was very good in Uri as well. I have not seen Uri, so I can't say. But I'm sure, however good he might have been in Uri, it wouldn't be anywhere close to how good he is as Sardar Udham Singh. He is simply brilliant. He is definitely put in one of the finest performances of the year, and he has a lot of competition in that, especially in this year. There have been so many outstanding performances by male actors this year, and yet I think amongst them all, Vicky Kaushal will have a very, very important place, because he is truly the life and soul of Sardar Udham Singh. Do watch the movie. It's released last night on Amazon Prime. It's there for all of you to see. See it and enjoy it. As I said, it's a little long, 2 hours 40 minutes. But once you've invested yourself and gone through the first 35-40 minutes of the movie, you won't regret it. It's one of the better Hindi movies I've seen this year for sure. Sardar Udham Singh, now showing at Amazon Prime. That's all for this week, folks, and until the next time, bye for now.